Hello, boys and girls. Today we are on lesson 10.8 on page 605, Estimate and Measure Mass. Our focus today, how can we estimate and measure mass in metric units? Metric units are measured in grams and kilograms, and mass means we're checking the weight, how heavy something is. So let's look at Unlock the Problem. It says Pedro has a dollar bill in his pocket. Should Pedro measure the mass of the dollar bill in grams or kilograms? The gram is the basic metric unit for measuring mass, or the amount of matter in an object, kind of how heavy something is. Mass can also be measured by using the metric unit kilogram. So let's look at gram and kilogram quickly. If we look at this green paper clip, it weighs or has a mass of about 1 gram. It's very light. A kilogram would be a box of 1,000 paper clips. So not super heavy, it's just over 2 pounds, but definitely heavier than a gram, which again is just 1 paper clip. So if we think about a dollar bill, it is much closer to the mass, or kind of the weight, of a small paper clip than it is to 1,000 paper clips, right? So when we measure a dollar bill, we would measure it in grams. If it was something heavy, something more than a kilogram, something more than 2 pounds, then we would use kilograms as the measurement because we would have way too many grams to count, okay? So if it's really light, we measure it in grams. Maybe it's 10 grams or 15, and we'll have some examples in a little bit. And if it's heavy, then we use kilograms. So Pedro should measure the mass of the dollar bill in grams because it's super light. Let's take a look at a pan scale, also known as a balance scale. If we had 10 grams and compare it to 1 kilogram, what would we get? Well, remember now, we just talked about a paper clip is 1 gram. So if we had 10 of those compared to a kilogram, which is 1,000 paper clips, the 10 paper clips are much lighter. So the 10 grams is much lighter than a kilogram, right? It would take 1,000 paper clips to equal a kilogram. 1,000 grams and a kilogram. So if we look at our scale, we need to place 10 grams on our scale and put 1 kilogram on the scale. 10 grams are much lighter. 10 paper clips are lighter than 1,000 paper clips. 10 grams is less than a kilogram, 1,000 grams. So my 1 kilogram would go here. My 10 grams would go here, and they are lighter. The heavier something is, that side of the scale goes lower. If it's balanced, then they're both equal. And we'll see that example later too. So when we draw that picture, we can see that the pan balance is unbalanced or not balanced. That means that the item that is lower is heavier. The 1 kilogram is lower or heavier than the 10 grams. And again, 1 kilogram is 1,000 grams. So that 1,000 grams, that kilogram, heavier than 10 grams. So 10 grams and 1 kilogram are not the same mass, are not. Again, it would have to be 1,000 grams to equal a kilogram. All right, boys and girls, let's look at page 606. On this page, we actually have an activity, and I've recorded that activity, but first let's look at the steps, and then I'll show you my recording. Step 1 says, use the objects in the table. Decide if the object should be measured in grams or kilograms, and I actually measured everything in grams. I did not measure anything in kilograms. Nothing on this list, right here, really weighs more than 2 pounds. My stapler, it's heavy, but it's maybe a pound, so it'd be half a kilogram-ish. So I measured it in grams. I measured all these things in grams. Step 2, estimate the mass of each object. Record your estimates in the table. So your estimate is your best guess. And it's okay if it's not correct, if it's not right on. In fact, I'm kind of guessing, and none of them should be right. Like, we really shouldn't be guessing exactly how much everything is. So go ahead and make your guesses here. Remember, 1 gram, and all of these estimates will be in grams. 1 gram is the weight of 1 paper clip. So let's look at a crayon. How heavy do you think a crayon is? Is it heavier than a paper clip? Yeah, I think so. Is it a lot heavier? Not really, they're pretty close. So a paper clip is a gram. Go ahead and write down your estimate. How many grams, G is the abbreviation for grams, by the way. How many grams do you think a crayon weighs? And also, do the same thing for the stapler, the eraser, and the eraser I used is a whiteboard eraser, a marker, like a whiteboard marker, a small notepad, and the small notepad I'm using is a little pad of sticky notes. And then also, how heavy do you think the scissors are? And the scissors I'm using are full-size scissors, okay? So just give your best guess, and we'll see how close you are. All right, so go ahead and write down your estimates, and then we will look at the actual activity. Go ahead and pause the video so you can enter your estimates. When you're done with that, resume the video so you can watch the actual activity. On our page 606, it wants us to weigh a crayon and find the mass of a crayon. So I have, where'd it go? There we go. 1 crayon. Put that on my scale. Now the problem I have is I don't have a 1 gram weight. I have a 10 gram weight. That's the smallest I have. So I'll put my 10 gram weight on our scale, and it's pretty clear 10 grams is more than that crayon. So what we'll do today then is continue to add crayons until we can get about 10 grams. And grab a few crayons here. 1 more crayon, so 2 crayons. Let me get my weight centered in the middle of the scale. That does make a difference. All right, there we go. So my scale is pretty much balanced with 2 crayons weighing about 10 grams. That means each crayon weighs 5 grams. So we can put on page 606, a crayon weighs 5 grams. Next up, we're going to check out the stapler. So let me remove the crayons, my 10 gram weight, and pick up my trusty stapler, place it on our balance scale, and oh my gosh, let's see what we have here. So I'm not even going to start with the 10 gram or the 20 grams. I also have a 50 gram weight, a couple of those. I think my stapler is more than that. I also have a 100 gram weight. I think my stapler is more than that. I'm going to start with a 200 gram weight here. And put it on our scale, and didn't even move. So I have another 200 gram weight. Try that on there. Nothing. Oh my gosh. All right, let's try the 100 gram weight. So now this will put us up to 500 grams. Nothing. So here is the 50 gram. That'll be 550 grams. Oh, a little movement. And what do we have here? Bounce it around a little bit. Let the grams move. I think we're pretty good. Yeah, 550 grams. So let's take another 50 gram weight. I'll add that onto the scale, and that's definitely too much. So I'm good with 500 grams for the stapler. All right, so let's remove the stapler, and we will remove the weights. Here we go. And next up, on our list is an eraser, and I just grabbed one of our whiteboard erasers. So here it is, our whiteboard eraser. Put that down on the scale. That feels pretty light. So I'm going to start with, let's try one of these guys, which is the 20 grams there. Put that right in the middle, and that's way too heavy. So I'll take that off. Let's try the 10 gram. And 10 gram, place it in the middle. Oh, and it balances our scale. So the eraser is pretty light, not as light as a crayon. It weighs 10 grams. Next on the list is a marker. So I have one of our Expo markers, and there it is, and we'll see what it weighs. Put it on the scale, and if I can get it there. All right. So I have the 10 gram weight on the scale still, and the marker is heavier. So another 10 gram weight. Oh, and it totally sends it off. Now, like I said, I don't have another smaller weight. So I can grab another marker though. Hang on. Another Expo marker. There we go. Put that on our scale. And put these in the middle. And the two markers weigh more than 10 grams. Let's put them here. And they're not quite 30 grams. Unfortunately, I don't have, like I mentioned, 1 grams. So two markers are about 30. I'm going to take a couple grams off. I'm going to estimate probably 28 grams. For two markers, that means one marker weighs 14 grams. So make sure you record that on page 606, 14 grams for one marker. And next up it says a small notepad. So I do have some sticky notes, a pad of sticky notes. I'll place that in our scale. And let's start with a 10 gram weight. And it didn't even budge. So I'm going to take that 10 gram weight off. And I'm going to grab a 20 gram weight and see what happens. Nothing. All right, let's add another 20 gram weight right here. Ooh, a little movement, but still nothing. So now a 10 gram weight, this would get us up to 50. Oh, look at that. It balanced it immediately. So my small notepad, of sticky notes, 50 grams. And last but not least, on page 606, a pair of scissors. So I have a pair of art scissors here. I'll place those on the scale. This will be a little challenging because they're so long. And let's start with, I'm going to start with the 50 gram weight and see what happens. Oh, look at this. Let's try a 10 gram weight and see if that throws the scale off or not. It did. So, looks like those scissors, I told you it'd be challenging. Looks like those scissors, well, they might be a little more than 50 grams. But they're less than 60 because when I added the 10 gram weight on there, oh, wait a minute. These scales aren't the best. We're still okay. Oh, there we go. So 70 is too much. And again, it does matter where I put it in the tray. 70 was too much. I don't know. We could put 60. I'm guessing maybe a little less, but 60 looks like it might work for us. So 60 grams on the scissors. All right, now that we've done this activity, you should have written in the mass or the weights of all of our objects. And let's go to this next part down here where it says, write the objects in order from greatest mass, the heaviest, to least mass. All right, our heaviest object, the most mass, that was our stapler. So right here, stapler is our heaviest. Next, we had our scissors. Then the next lightest after the scissors was the notepad of the sticky notes. Okay, we'll go to the next line. After the notepad, it was the marker, the Expo marker. And then we had the whiteboard eraser, so I'm just going to write eraser. And then our lightest was the crayon. Okay, it's time for share and show. Let's do I'll have you do all 5. There's 1 on this page, 606. There are 4 more on page 607. Do all 5. When you are done, check your answers with the video. So while you're working on the 5, pause the video. When you're done with those 5, then of course resume the video so you can check your work. And I'll let you pause right now. All right, boys and girls, I'm assuming you have finished share and show, so let's take a look at our answers. Question number 1, 5 bananas have a mass of about blank. So there are the 5 bananas. They have a mass of 1 kilogram. kg is the abbreviation for kilogram, so 1 kilogram. And again, metric abbreviations, no period after the abbreviation is necessary. Now we do have a period there, but it's only because it's at the end of the sentence. So 5 bananas have a mass of about 1 kilogram. Let's go on to page 607. All right, question number 2 and 3. Let's take a look at the directions. It says, choose the unit you would use to measure. Write gram or kilogram. Now again, remember, grams are when we are measuring things that are very light. Kilograms are things that are a little bit heavier. Something over a couple of pounds would be measured in kilograms. So a strawberry, very light, we are going to use grams to measure strawberries. And if you just wanted to write the abbreviation for grams, that's fine too. And next we have dog. Even the lightest dogs weigh more than a couple of pounds. So we are going to measure their mass in kilograms, kg. Now, if you wanted to write out the whole word, of course, that's fine too. That's the abbreviation for kilograms. Let's look at the last 2, 4 and 5. The directions, of course, compare the masses of the objects. Write is less than, is the same as, or is more than for each answer. So number 4, we're taking a look at our balance scale, or they call it a pan scale. And we're measuring the mass of a bowling pin compared to the mass of a chess piece. The bowling pin has more mass. It's heavier. That's why the scale is down on its side. So the mass of the bowling pin is more than the chess piece. And when we look at number 5, here, the scale straight across. That means they are the same. So is the same as. The mass of the erasers is the same there we go, as the mass of the binder clips. So they have the same mass. 2 erasers, and they use regular, those rubber erasers have the same mass as 5 big binder clips. All right, boys and girls, that's it for us today. If you need some reminders about grams, kilograms, things like that, look at pages 605 and page 606. Those 2 pages will help you out. Persevere, work hard, show integrity, and do your best. As always, this is Mr. P, and I am out.